Well, that's that. Next year, I guess. I've been punched in the dick again by them. Feels good. Let's talk about the Newlywed Game circa 1998, shall we? Now, the 90s run of the Newlywed Game was quite interesting. It started in 1996 with Gary Kroeger as host and a completely different format than what we're used to in the Newlywed Game. Now, ratings were fine, but the show wasn't well received, since that was too much of a departure from the original show. So, in 1997, they did a complete course correction, bringing back the original host Bob Eubanks and something akin to the original set with the white wicker and it looking completely like it hadn't aged since 1978. That show got it to a third season, and that's when they decided we need to modernize this. So, what they decided to do was modernize the set a bit. So, instead of it being this a 70s throwback, it's now a modern, sleek set with nice couches, blue scoring, and, well, let's just say they modernized the questions quite a bit. Instead of make whoopee or something, we're no longer the throwback. They actually say make love, have sex, stuff like that. And how you can tell it's modernized is if you take a look at Bob Eubanks. Now, Bob usually wears, on the old shows, a suit and tie. Now, for those who kind of watched Bob Eubanks, he's not really a suit and tie type of guy. And if he didn't have to wear the suit and tie, he wouldn't. Now, in certain episodes of the show, you'll see him wear a nice blazer but with no tie, and in some instances, it will either just be a nice shirt or a nice button-up shirt or a very neat sweater, and he's more comfortable wearing that than he is the suit and tie. At least that's what I got from interviews that he did with the Institute of American Television and various other places. But the big thing about the 98 version of the Newlywed Game and that the modernization of it all also culminates with different style questions being used. Now, some of the questions will involve a model coming out and essentially saying, if you could have this person do one job with your partner doing another job, what would that be? And we're getting a little more interesting with the questions. Also, during the show, they actually changed up it with more interactive questions. For example, they would sometimes have arm wrestling contests between the wives, and whoever won the arm wrestling contest would win a prize of like a new Sony colored TV or VCR or PlayStation, stuff like that. Sony products. Because that's who was making the show at the time. It was Sony. It was airing on Game Show Network as well. Because, well, more revenues to make money. That's the thing. Sorry if my hair is a mess. This is kind of like random thought. This is Random Thoughts of Randomness. I don't know if I mentioned that in the beginning. I'm probably still suffering from another Seattle Mariners dick punch. But to go along with it, they would ask the husbands, who do you think is the toughest? wife, who could take each one on a fight. And then there are other questions that involved arm wrestling for the guys backstage. And whoever won got the best outfit, we'll say. And the loser had to dress up like Little Bo Peep, whoever finished last. And it freshened up the format, in my opinion. You know, if the 96 version was a complete dramatic change, and the 97 season was a complete overcorrection, then the 98 season was kind of like that perfect balance. And what also helped the 98 season, as what we're seeing now on Buzzr, because they're airing the 98 episodes, Bob has zero chill. I mean, this is what Bob wanted to be. If Bob could get away with the stuff Bob said in 98 that he did in 78, I don't think the show would have been canceled in 1980 after the horrificness that was Three's a Crowd. But it probably wouldn't have been more liked either, because Bob was being real. And I think Bob was being more real in 98 than any other time. And that's why I love the 98 season of the Newlywed Game. I mean, Bob was being himself. I mean, the questions were a lot more modernized. The set was a lot more modernized. You had a better variety of questions. I also like the physical demonstrations, and also little rewards, you know, like, I will give you $50 to pie your husband. But before that, he would have to predict whether she would pie you in the face for $50, or would she politely decline. And it's just a lot of fun to watch. And these have been my random thoughts of randomness for the 1998 version of the Newlywed Game. Check it out. It's on Buzzr. It airs, I want to say 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Check it out. You will not be disappointed, and you will completely flip over the, well, let's just say the raw nature of this Newlywed Game. And interesting, too. Well, these are my random thoughts of randomness. Next video will be a home game. And it's where I kind of wrap up the Super Nintendo library for now. Because there's still more games that I need to do. I just need to buy them first. And that's with your support for watching all these videos. And if you give a thumbs up, please do so. It helps out with, spreading the word about the channel. Also, subscribing if you haven't already. And become a Patreon backer at patreon.com/GameShowGumbo, where we can afford more home game stuff and show off more home game stuff and get more videos out to you. Well, that's going to do that for me. I thank everybody for watching. And now, if you excuse me, I'm probably going to root for the Phillies to win the World Series because I don't want the Dodgers or the Astros to win it. Goodbye.